What's up, everyone? Welcome to Season Gaming Bitcast episode 112, and happy July 4th to all of our American listeners, watchers, viewers, what have you. So we've got a fun episode today. Hope you can join us on, like I said, this holiday weekend here in the U.S. So Ainsley Bowden here, known as Porsche Infinite. Today I'm trying to take a page out of Dan's book and come up with creative names. As you can tell, I'm not very good at it, but we'll get better over time, hopefully.
I didn't even notice that. That's terrible.
It's terrible. I know. Speaking of terrible, I have $69 Dan with me.
That's right, buddy.
So we've got $69 Dan, Filthy Casual. You're just going by way too many names today.
I'll try. I do what I do. Oh, man.
Joining us from well across the pond over in Germany and back on the show for the third time? I don't know. It's been a few times. Yeah. So our good friend of the show, Archimedes. What is up, sir?
Hey, guys. Yeah, I totally forgot you have a holiday today. So yeah, congratulations there, and yeah, I'm happy to be on the show again.
Nice.
Yeah, it's it'll be interesting later today. It's fireworks and drinking and barbecues and all that good stuff over here. You know, lots of flag waving. And then joining us for the first time, another friend of the show and someone I talk to quite often, actually, in Twitter community. Runs pixelowl.net and recently started his own podcast as well, is Logan Meyer. Logan, how you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing pretty great, man. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So before, as we always do, let's kind of talk about the guests. So I think everyone, Archimedes, knows you. Like I said, who's familiar with the show, a lot of the similar communities, and I have seen that your YouTube channel is doing really well, man. And I really enjoy your videos. They're well edited, well scripted, and just wanted to say congrats on the continued success there.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I've seen the numbers grow over the last few weeks. It's impressive. I already have about 580 subscribers right now, which is really, really cool for a small channel like mine. Yeah,
it's awesome. So congrats on that. Logan, since you're first time on the show, one of the things we like to do with first time guests is kind of talk through gaming history and some of those things. So if you don't mind, let's go ahead and get into that. So how did you originally get into gaming? What got you into the video game industry?
Okay, so my gaming resume. I started in '98 when I was 6.
Dan.
I got
feeling old again, man.
And
Super
Mario 64 and Pokemon Red and Blue on the Game Boy Pocket were my first games.
Wow.
And then I transitioned from that to PS2 and GameCube and original Xbox, and I've had pretty much all the major consoles since then. I was a little late for the Sega consoles, RIP, but I jumped in at N64, and basically I play on anything, Nintendo, Xbox, or Sony. I just like games. So
yeah, well, that's why you're here, man. We don't really deal with any of the nonsense here. So almost, I would say almost every guest. I don't think we've had a guest that doesn't play on everything or have a history with gaming. So yeah, what's up, chat? Good to see all of our regulars. Good morning. Lunch Bizzle says I'm feeling old as fuck right now. Yes, that's me too. Don't worry. So Logan,
not bad.
So you said you were born in what, 92?
Yeah, 92. Yeah.
So my stepdaughter's as old as you are. That's where we are today.
Damn, now I feel extremely young. I was born in 83.
Yeah, and Dan and I are just going to leave all of this alone at this point, I think.
Yeah.
So, chat, what's going on, everyone? I see Marion in the chat. Good to see you, man. Thanks for joining us. We've got our regulars, Jordan, Matt, Elu. What's up, guys? So I know it's a holiday here, so, I don't know how many people can tune in, and I know everyone's got things going on, so thanks for stopping by. Real quick, Logan, I want to touch on Pixelowl. So pixelowl.net, and like I said, I know you recently started a podcast as well. So how did that come about? What, you want to talk about it briefly?
Yeah, Pixel Owl actually just celebrated its first year anniversary.
Congrats.
Oh, thank you. It basically just was a passion project of mine because I love gaming and I love to write. I did a lot of writing in college, so I decided, you know what, I would just shoot my shot and try my own site. And so it's kind of just a passion project of mine. I do reviews and thought pieces. Like my most recent thing was about timed exclusives and how I think they're kind of a sketchy thing in the industry and kind of wish they would just go away. And then then I've added Owl About Gaming, which is my podcast. I like puns, and I just associate it with Pixel Owl. So Owl About Gaming, and that's available on streaming services and my Pixel Owl website. Still working to get it on Apple and YouTube.
Yeah, they could be a pain sometimes. But no, that's awesome, man. Congratulations. I mean, Season Gaming itself, this whole thing started as a passion project for me, just a literal one-page blog. So, you know, I mean, it's fun. It's good to get into it. So congrats on that.
Oh, thank you.
Jordan said Logan representing the lightly seasoned. Yeah, that's about right. All right, guys, let's jump into some stuff here. So we got a lot to talk about. So one of the big news items this week was NBA 2K21. And I know Dan was super excited about this. Going, saying that the PS5 and Xbox Series X versions were going to be $69.99 instead of $59.99, at least here in the U.S. What's the standard retail price in Germany in terms of euros, Archimedes, for games?
It's 70 euros, which is around about $78, $79.
About $80. Yeah. So that would be, I mean, you're creeping up into the, $92, $93 range.
Up.
if they change it, right? Like if they raise it in Germany too. Wow.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we did our weekly poll this week about that and basically tried to get a gauge of how the season gaming community was feeling about that. And funny enough, we kind of got a mixed response. So we had three options here. One, you don't mind, the increase. Two, it would be okay if we saw less of these like deluxe editions for $10 more and games focus or publishers focus less on microtransactions. And then the other people who just said no way, the game should not be going up in price. So we had 27% said they don't mind, 29% said no way. So you've got two polar opposites there. And then the top choice was actually it would be okay if we had less deluxe, and microtransactions. So I think it's an interesting conversation. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on it. Is around, the argument is that game development has become very expensive, right? 2 to 3 times at least what it used to be to make anything from a AA, especially in the AAA title arena. And it can be, for big AAA games. We just got one of the biggest of the year in The Last of Us 2. It can take many years, a big team, and cost hundreds of millions of dollars to make these games. However, you have the counterpoint of the big publishers like Activision, Electronic Arts, companies like Tencent, who we're going to talk about. They're more profitable than ever. And that's largely due to just the way games have been monetized over the past several years. And digital transactions, microtransactions, of course, the hot word. And so there's this weird kind of, correlate or lack of correlation between game development and cost versus profitability. And so I think that's why majority of our community said it would be okay if we saw less of this kind of predatory, deluxe editions, digital stuff, microtransactions. But I think there's too much money there now, and we're too far ingrained in the community for that to go away. I don't think publishers are going to let that go. So let's hear your thoughts, guys, on, and we'll go around the horn here on, $70 games potentially for next generation, if it's a good, bad thing, indifferent, and what do you think about it? So Archimedes, I'll start with you, man.
Yeah, all right. So here in Europe, nothing has been announced so far. So from as much as we can tell, it's a US thing only, and well, you are very spoiled with the cheap prices anyway. So I wasn't aware of that. I had an interesting conversation on Twitter with people from different countries, and even we Europeans shouldn't complain. If you compare the video game prices from Brazil or India and even China, it's insane. They pay regularly well over $100 for a video game at the moment. So if that increase is only for the US, it's just a little adjustment to the worldwide market, I would say. Anyway, it's a difficult topic. I get the point that the development costs are rising. On the other hand, video games are so filled with microtransactions right now, but there are games that don't have microtransactions, and what do they do?
Right.
It's a very difficult thing. In the end, you have to look at it like this. When was the last raise of video game prices? For us here in Germany, I googled it. It was in 2001, so 19 years ago, and ever since the prices have been very stable. I don't know what that was when that was in the US, but
I think it wasn't it with the 360 and PS3 guys. I'm going off of memory. Yeah, 2005. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So 15 years ago. So we had very stable prices 15 years ago, and even if you think about inflation during that time period, the prices should have been increased already. So as much as it pains me to say, but I think it's a natural thing that every once in a while, every 10 to 15, 20 years, the prices go up.
Yeah. Logan?
I think it's probably time that they move up. I think it's just natural. Like, we've been blessed to have 15 years of a static price before.
Sure.
$59.99. It was $49.99 for a long time. So it seems natural, but I find it ironic that it's 2K putting it.
Right.
Yeah. If it was them or Activision or somebody like that, that's totally not surprising. As a big hoops junkie myself, I'm well familiar with 2K and NBA 2K in particular, and it's quite funny that they're bumping the price up when it already launches in such a state that causes massive angst among the community, because it's always kind of just a bug-filled mess when it launches, and then it's just ripe with all these casino type transactions. Like, you have to pay stuff to upgrade your character and all kinds of stuff. And so then on top of that, they're boosting the price. If it was somebody else announcing it first, I would probably be less, eye raised, kind of like, it just happens. But 2K being the first one just feels kind of I don't know.
Yeah, especially and I haven't played it, but I mean, NBA 2K in particular, like you said, seems to be just loaded with microtransactions. I know 2K20 got a lot of heat for that. So I was just pulling up an article, and just to give you some perspective here for everyone too. So Activision Blizzard, we talked about this 2 months ago now, but just in the first quarter of 2020, fiscal 2020, they posted a $1 billion revenue just from microtransactions.
Making bank.
Yeah. And EA's in the same boat, right? So, I mean, you're starting to talk about $3, $4, $5 billion annually just from microtransactions, not game sales or anything else. So I think, personally, I kind of agree with you guys in terms of it's been a long time since the price increases. But it feels like a lot of these publishers and developers and big games have found ways around that, right? They've continued to stay profitable and grow despite the static price. Dan, where are you at on this?
I don't get it. I mean,
even though you're $69 Dan?
Yes. All right. That price fluctuates daily, so
seems kind of high to me, to be honest with you. I don't know.
Come back next week, and it might be $2. I don't know. But here's the thing, it depends on the game to me and who's doing it. When you see 2K come out and say, well, we're going to charge an extra $10, get the hell out of here with that garbage. All right. I mean, if you just said, Activision, $1 billion in just microtransactions. All right. And
a quarter.
It's for a quarter.
3 months.
Yeah. Okay. That's insane. All right. That game should be free to play, period. I think that, like Warzone is, but, Call of Duty at this point, just release it.
We talked about that with the Ultimate Team modes too, like in Madden and, FIFA.
100%. Those games, if you're going to sit here and charge me an extra $10, I better be getting an extra $10 worth of content. All right. If I look at games like A Plague Tale, right, that came out, it was $50, right? Yes. Smaller game, but worth the price. All right.
Yeah.
For me, but value is subjective. I understand
Sure.
that. But the problem is if you get these bigger companies like Activision, all right, that are going to come out or EA and raise the prices $10. I mean, it's asinine to me because there's no point. It's not like you're really going to make that much more money on it. I think in the long run, your development costs, I don't even want to hear about that garbage. All right, I don't know what like Spider-Man cost, to make probably what 200 million ish.
$30.
Yeah, well, who knows? I know Sony paid like 230 million for him.
For Insomniac.
Yeah, but let's say the game cost you. I mean, they made that back 3 times over, in sales probably. It's just doesn't make any sense to me to do that kind of stuff. It's I understand we've had a nice time getting the $6 game and everything. It's just frustrating as hell to me because these companies make so much money through everything else. You should be able to pass along those savings to your consumers, in my opinion.
Yeah, for the larger publishers. I think that's where the struggle is, right? Because you do have smaller publishers, smaller developers, indie developers that have struggled to turn a profit by making games, right? But they don't have the types of games that have the market to feed into these microtransaction kind of, concepts that games like 2K, games like FIFA and Madden and those do that make all that kind of money. So I don't know. It's challenging. The other question that, funny enough, of all people, Roger Clark, Mr. Morgan on Twitter asked the other night, basically just the simple question that we never really seem to ask in this is why are all games priced the same anyway? Why, and they're not all priced the same, but fundamentally most games retail for the, for $59.99, right? So why
good question.
Why wouldn't a game like Last of Us 2 be $59.99 versus a game like Plague Tale? Well, maybe Plague Tale was cheaper, but I mean, some other game that's maybe a 10-hour experience that cost 20% to make or develop. Why wouldn't it be $39.99 or $29.99?
Well, a lot of them are, right? I mean, you
some of them.
Yeah. For the smaller games, you can get on there and get them for $40 or whatever it is. I just don't get, the bigger companies where I have an issue with. If you look at something like, like Ubisoft, they make so much money just in sales already. They probably don't have to raise it. And really, this might just be 2K. There were basically rumblings of, everybody else, other companies possibly going up to $70. And I'm going to pay it. I don't really care. It doesn't matter.
We're all going to pay it. Yeah. I mean, we know that.
Yeah. It's not
going to stop playing games.
Right, yeah. I mean, we're all going to play this stuff. It's not going to make a dent. But it's just, the problem is, it's more of a principle behind it. When you've got these larger companies that are just raking in money hand over fist, and it just bothers me that they have the audacity to come out and say, yeah, we're going to charge you $10 more for the base game on top of the hundreds and hundreds of dollars you're probably going to pay for stupid cards in our game and shoes or whatever it is, a jersey. It blows my mind that they
I mean, I think one of the issues is that it was a sports game. All these sports games,
right.
Madden, FIFA, everything, they just feel like a DLC anyway to the previous game.
That's true.
And if that game would have been, let's say, Cyberpunk or something, like that, I think the perception would have been different.
Yeah, very true. So we got a couple good questions in chat. First of all, Lunch Bizzle says, why is Dan wearing his shirt? Half the reason he came to the show today is because you said you weren't going to wear your shirt. I'm not saying to take it off. I think we're all thankful that you have it on, but just wanted to call that out. We also have a very good point by Nine Lives that really said that the only game that should be $69 next gen is Bug Snacks. I think we can all agree on that. So
probably be $89.
Yeah, he was at $99 for that one. Yeah. Jordan makes a good point though. He said, but it's a counterpoint, right? Like theater tickets, you go to see a movie. Obviously, the budget for different movies is drastically different depending on what you're watching, as well as the quality of some movies. And yet, theater tickets go the same, really, no matter when you go or where you go. Sure. So it's true. So, Lodge, thanks for stopping by, man. Yeah, I know it's a holiday out there today, but I appreciate you. All right, guys. So let's move on from that. Let's talk about the meat and potatoes of what we want to talk about with the show today, and that is the Xbox July event. So a lot of different pieces of information came out this week around this event. Obviously, we all know it's coming, but we got several kind of new things to talk about here. So first and foremost, it seems like the event is going to happen on July 23rd, which is a Thursday, I think, off the top of my head. The week of July 20th seems to be the week where Xbox is really going to start to ramp things up with a couple things. So starting on July 21st, which is Tuesday of that week, they're going to hold a week-long, what they're calling a demo event on Xbox, featuring anywhere from 75 to 100 games that are going to be on the dashboard and be able to be downloaded and played in demo form just for a week. So it's going to be like a whole week for basically the entire Xbox community to try out a ton of new games for free, which I think is a really cool idea. So actually, let's talk about that real quick before we get into the show. So I know we've heard a lot of people talk for a long time now about where are game demos, and some publishers do demos, and obviously we get things like betas and whatnot. But you know, I know we all remember those demo discs. Well, maybe not Logan. I don't know, Logan.
Hey, I remember getting Game Informer and other things, and then I'd get the demo disc. Like Xbox would send like Blinks or Brute Force and other things on it.
Okay, you redeemed yourself. But yeah, so I think this is really cool. I have to ask why companies don't do this more. You know, you're basically giving your entire community the capability to try a whole ton of games at once in kind of like a flash thing. And then, you know, as well as I do, you know, there's going to be a bunch of sales that result from this event. So this sounds pretty cool to me.
It looks like it's E3 in your house, basically. You know, now you don't have to go to the event to actually try out some of these games that, you know, I know you and Bert went last year and you guys got to try out a whole bunch of stuff. And, you know, we all kind of sat here and it was like, yeah, it'd be cool to try that out.
Now you should have been with us. What can I say?
Yeah, I hate large crowds, so I can't do it. So it's one of those things. I hate most people, present company included, obviously. But you know, it's one of those things where it's really I think it's a cool thing. You know, I mean, that's a lot of games. I hope they're out for more than like a week, so I can try as many as possible.
No, they said it's a week. It's the 21st to 28th.
Yeah. That's not a lot of time for 100 games. So,
you know, you're going to try them all. You're going to buy half of them.
I mean,
that's for
rapid
sure.
fire them, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Our next week or that week is our currently playing is going to be like 3 pages long because all these demos. I think it's awesome, man. I mean, I think, like you said, man, there should be more of this. We should see more demos. We should see, you know, give us the chance to try it out. But then again, some people are just like, nah, we don't want them to try that out quite yet because yikes. Have you played our game? Yeah, you know, so it might be some of that too, you know.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason why demos have basically disappeared, because there were some statistics showing that if you play a demo, you're less likely to buy a game than if you don't play the demo. So
yeah, I remember Cliff Blazinski talking about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
but I think it's great. I was reminded in the good old days because you're a good man.
Yeah, I'm good. Sorry.
No, I remember when I was a teenager. That is basically how I lived through E3, because every magazine had those demo discs. Yeah, and it was amazing because this was the cool thing for me, reading through the magazines and then getting to actually play some demos from that E3 show floor and having that again. It's great.
Yeah. Logan, anything you're looking forward to with this?
Oh yeah, I think it's really exciting. I really hope Tunic is on it because I saw that the creator tweeted something for the first time in like months or maybe a year. He just had the little fox guy running around. I'm like, yes, I really want to see Tunic.
Yeah, Dan's been asking me
about this. We're all going to play Halo anyway all the time.
Oh yeah, obviously I'm gonna get Halo, so I know what Halo's like. So
yeah, Tunic. So Dan laughs because Bert and I actually covered Tunic. I got to play it at E3 because the guy was there. But yeah, it's been, like you said, it's been really, really quiet. And Dan's always asking, he's like, where the hell is Tunic? So I think it's funny because that game's being made by one guy, small game, but it's got a hell of an audience already that's waiting for that game. So that'd be interesting. So, Chris, good to see you, man. Chris already said Dan costs too much.
This is bullshit, man. I'm out here and say it. God, I'm getting devalued.
And Mariano, what's up, man? Welcome back to the show. Good to see you again. Thank you for the $1.99 super chat. He says, doubt it, but possible Halo multiplayer demo. So that's actually a pretty good segue for this, for us.
Man.
So let's talk July Xbox event, and we'll just jump into Halo right at the start because Halo. So there was a leak. I don't believe it personally. I think it's just one of those kind of 4chan/Reddit leaks that's just speculation. But in that leak, it did mention that we're going to get a Halo Infinite multiplayer demo in late August. So it wouldn't surprise me. Kind of multiplayer Halo demos have been a thing for, generations now. And with the game obviously launching in November, it wouldn't surprise me at all for us to get a Halo multiplayer demo. So I would say I certainly hope so.
Oh, I'm sure it's coming. They will call it a beta, but I think it will be in this July demo week.
Oh, you think they're going to drop it that week? Man, now you're getting me even more excited. That would be amazing.
Yeah. Maybe during the show, and the beta is available right now. And
that'd be nice.
Shadow drop beta, very nice.
Yeah, that'd be nice. So yeah, I don't know. I hope we see it. I think we will. I just don't know when. If it is that week of July, well, then I've got to take another vacation. So we'll see. All right, July 23rd, Thursday, July 23rd. So what we know that came out this week is quite a few things. So first, it is very, very heavily rumored, and we posted it as well on our site because there are some context that kind of back this up, that Initiative will be at the event and they will be showing off their first game. Of course, we all know that the rumor with the Initiative right now is that they're working on Perfect Dark, and I know we've talked about that before here. But it's going to be great to see what's coming out of that studio, because that is one of the I would say most kind of talent laden studios in the industry. I mean, the talent that they've acquired is unbelievable almost. We have seen an awful lot of Fable. Kind of news leaks, infos, IPs, trademarks, Aaron Greenberg trying to hide it, all kinds of stuff going on this week. So I personally believe we'll see something out of Fable as well. And then obviously there's a lot of other little things we talked about, like Obsidian, maybe some Outer World stuff, Cuphead, and some other things. So guys, let's kind of run through. Let's touch on Initiative. Let's touch on Fable, and let's touch on anything else that you would really like to see out of Xbox Game Studios on this event on July 23rd. Logan, I'll start with you, man.
I'm really excited for the event. Based on stuff I've been hearing, it should be one of the best events. Of course, they always say that, but I think it might be one of the better Xbox events we've had in quite some time. Yeah. Especially if they bring the Initiative, the big guns, the Initiative's there, Playground's there. Everybody knows Fable exists. It's like the worst kept secret in the industry. It's like we've heard about it for 5 years. We know it's there. And then the Initiatives game is, I'm really fascinated to see if it ends up being the traditional Perfect Dark, or if it's like they take Joanna Dark and put her in something else and they call it something else, but it's basically a Perfect Dark spiritual successor and something else. That's kind of what my hunch is, but I guess we'll find out.
What do you think about, we've talked about Perfect Dark quite a bit here, Dan and I have, and, our speculation, I know some other people are saying the same, is they take Joanna Dark, make her a new kind of Xbox icon, right? Like a Lara Croft type character, and turn it into a mature Splinter Cell type game.
Yep, that's my hunch, is that, I mean, you already mentioned the all-star cast that the Initiative has, and it just so happens the studio head, Daryl Gallagher, was in charge of the Tomb Raider reboot trilogy. Right. So who better to turn Joanna Dark into Xbox's Lara Croft than Daryl Gallagher? And I could totally see a Splinter Cell kind of Tomb Raider hybrid type, like Uncharted big set pieces and then gadgets and cyberpunk, this and that. And I really do think they're going all out for this.
Oh, yeah. I think so as well. Archimedes, I know that you did kind of your expectations of this show on your channel as well. So from a Perfect Dark / Fable perspective, any other thing, what are you thinking here?
Well, I don't think the initiative will make a Perfect Dark game
Okay.
right out of the gate. I think they will do a new IP. It's just maybe the second game from them will be Perfect Dark. I don't know, but I think having Perfect Dark as the game to come out brings too much baggage with it. The franchise is now 20, 25 years old. Nobody is remembering it, but you have to still somehow make your game in that lore. And I just think it doesn't make really sense to do that for a first game from that studio. I think they will do a completely new IP, but this is definitely going to be an epic one. Like you said, with all the talents they have from Naughty Dog, Rockstar, or Rocksteady, and so on, it's incredible. With Fable, I'm really looking forward to see which direction they take. If they will keep that cartoony look, or if they take it into a more serious direction, which I'm personally hoping. I hope they go down that Witcher 3 route.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then I still hope that the big surprise is the Obsidian RPG. They are working apparently on a Skyrim-like RPG. Recently, the lead character artist tweeted out some in-game renders from that game, and those characters looked insane. I hope to see that game. Yeah.
I mean, people forget that Outer Worlds, which I know, I don't know what you guys thought about it, but Dan and I love that game.
Oh, it was amazing.
One of my new favorite IPs of the generation.
Oh, definitely.
Sure. Perfect. Yeah. So we all agree then, thought it was fantastic. That was their small team. That was their side project.
Yeah.
So I mean, Obsidian is again another loaded with talent team. They've picked up even more talent since obviously moving over to XGS. And you're right. I really hope we see at least a teaser of what their big kind of AAA RPG is that's coming.
Oh, definitely. This RPG is apparently the reason why Microsoft bought that studio.
That's true.
So
very true.
Yeah, it has to be something fantastic.
Yeah. Dan, you're on mute, dude.
I'm on mute. Anyway, whatever they do, they really need to just blow us away. This is their chance. Don't screw it up.
Temper those expectations, Dan.
I'm never gonna happen. All right. I want to see Fable. Outer Worlds DLC would be awesome if it's got some meat to it. We've talked about Perfect Dark before. If it's if it's what you said it is, I mean, if that's what they do and they go in that direction, 100% down with it.
Well, apparently we're not getting Splinter Cell, no matter how much we yell about it.
So I just played one of probably the best stealth games I've ever played, and The Last of Us 2, and I wasn't expecting that at all, and I loved the whole stealth aspect of it, and I love those kind of games. So I would be 100% down with it. I see here in the notes that you have Banjo is better than BioShock.
Yeah, just putting that out there.
Yeah, you don't have to, because that's a huge lie.
It is a huge lie.
Huge. Gosh, what in the hell, man? I'm just throwing that out there. Compulsion, yeah, what the hell are they doing? I mean,
So, I wanted to talk about that because I wanted to actually ask all of you guys what if you look across Xbox Game Studios, all the studios, what studio do you think is kind of like not an underdog, but could deliver something that'll surprise a lot of people? And for me, the reason I put it on this list, Dan, was for me that's Compulsion, because that we know they're working on something dark, not necessarily a full horror game, but something in kind of a darker vein. We Happy Few, I've said it before, was like a diamond in the rough. It was rough around the edges. Wasn't a fantastic game, but man, it had some good concepts, had good writing. And they're just a studio that's loaded with talent. Again, as with all the Xbox Game Studios, have picked up a load more talent over the past 18, 24 months. And I think whatever they deliver is really going to surprise some people. So,
yeah, they're one of my biggest slept-on studios out there. I really enjoyed We Happy Few. Obviously, the bugs were a problem. I mean, and stuff like that. But I really enjoyed the story and the dystopian narrative they created, and the characters were fascinating. Yep. And I see them doing a game in the vein of a BioShock type title, like not a horror game, but that dystopian, super dark, and just kind of trippy title, I think is what they're working on.
Yeah.
That would be great. For me, that studio would definitely be In Exile. It's some people rarely talk about it. The only time they talked about In Exile was when they announced that they are using Unreal Engine 5. Suddenly, everybody was speaking about them, but I think they have the potential to do something very special. If you look at their RPG track record, it's amazing. They have fantastic games, and all those games just felt a little bit too short budgeted. You can really feel it. This is definitely one for me. And then we forgot to talk about Hellblade, Hellblade 2.
It's true. Go for it.
I think that is something they will show off definitely with gameplay, because I still think it will launch in the launch window in the first 6 months of the console.
Oh, wait, I can't make a beer bet with you because we're too far away. But
oh man,
no, there's a reason why they announced that game along with the console. You don't do that just for the sake of it. They will launch that very early, spring 21, I guess. One of the first Unreal Engine 5 games.
There you go. Yeah. You heard it here first. I'm not sure I agree, but I like the concept.
Spicy.
Yeah, that was. Right now, I think, all those studios that we talked about, we still got Double Fine's working on Psychonauts 2 and
God, man, people sleeping on that game too. There's
a ton of them out there, man. I mean, you still have like Undead Labs. I've been playing a lot of State of Decay 2.
That's what Shindo just said in the chat. Yes, Undead Labs with proper funding and support. Yeah.
Oh man, and they've done a whole lot of improvements to the game. Just like Sea of Thieves was, and they just kept building it up. Any of those, just surprised me. I want to go, whoa, didn't see that coming, or even, I kind of saw that coming, but still, whoa, that's that's kind of what you want. You got to get. This is their chance. They're doing, it looks like a whole week of stuff and all kinds of demos, and I mean, it's going to be awesome. I mean, it better be awesome. How about that? You just can't. Don't fart and just, just don't fart it away. You got a great chance here, and maybe we'll see some of the Lockhart stuff too. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, so right now the rumor is they're going to hold Lockhart off for August, where they're going to announce it in combination with the Series X price.
It makes only sense to announce it along with the price.
That makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the prevailing rumor right now. Of course, no one knows definitively, but so I have to ask, and I'll do that. I'm going to keep doing it till like Splinter Cell until we get the damn thing back. Yeah, what are your guys' thoughts, Dan? I'm going to mute you on Banjo-Kazooie returning.
I'm actually a big Banjo stan. I grew up with the 64, obviously, so Banjo-Tooie. So
classic.
I actually think that this isn't me making a prediction, but I honestly think that Xbox already has a perfect studio for Banjo and Double Fine with their doing Psychonauts and such. I think they would, with their kind of legendary wit and humor, would be a really good fit for Banjo or a Conquer type game, like from Rare's
Conquer's another one, man. God.
Yeah, I don't think in today's age we can have Conquer back, but but I think Banjo has a good chance, especially with him being put into Smash Brothers. That you saw the reactions to that all around the world. Like, we've been wanting Banjo since the first Smash Brothers, so I do think he will be back eventually. Just it might be a little while.
Okay. Archimedes, you a Banjo guy or no? Think about your answer.
It's okay to say no.
Oh no! I have to be really careful. I enjoyed it on the N64, but I haven't played it ever since. So I'd rather see that Conquer game from Double Fine, to be honest.
Okay,
that would be fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, hell, we could use a new Conquer game more than ever right now, I think, especially here in the U.S. But, so I like Elu in chat. Dan has his comment for you. Banjo greater than Bioshock. I'm going to start that a trend. Hashtag Banjo greater than Bioshock, even though I don't even believe it.
I mean, I can't even take your opinion seriously. What's going on? It's like, what do you think of it? I don't really care. Because I remember what you said in the chat that one day.
Yeah.
Nope.
I think everyone agrees with you, Dan, though. I think we're even the most kind of rabid Xbox fans are at a point where they have to deliver. This has to be their week. The demo stuff sounds awesome. That's great. But this show has to be a long show, like an E3 style presentation, and they just have to bring it. They have to show what these studios are working on, even if they do it more like Sony tends to do with some of their bigger IPs, where they show it 2 and 3 years out. Give us a teaser like they did Hellblade 2 originally, right? Even just show something to get people really pumped up about the future of Xbox Game Studios. I think we're all in agreement there.
Yep, totally agree. Maybe with like better cameras.
2013 kind of launch again.
Yeah. And I think, it's a much, I think they will finally. I haven't had as big of a problem with the inside Xboxes as some people. They haven't been great. I'm not saying that by any stretch of the imagination. And I think it's hilarious they joked about making sure Aaron Greenberg's not going to be on camera. But yeah, I think this is going to be something special. So it's hard to believe that as we're sitting here talking, guys, we're only a few weeks away. We're a few weeks away from Ghost of Tsushima, followed by Xbox Week, which is just awesome, I think, for all of us.
Absolutely.
All right. Before we move on from Xbox, I do really quick want to talk about Halo a little bit because, like I said, there were some additional things we didn't talk about. The Halo TV show. A lot of people have forgotten about it, but coming to Showtime next year. They actually confirmed this week it is still on track for 2021. 5 episodes are already finished shooting, and it's being filmed in Hungary, which until I did research this week, I didn't even realize that Hungary is actually a very popular filming location for a lot of U.S. studios now, and that the group that is working on this for Showtime is still going to be allowed to be in Hungary because there's these new regulations around COVID and travel and everything else, but their production is not stopping. So very good news for the Halo TV show coming next year. But in terms of Halo Infinite, there was a rumor that came out this week that Xbox Series X version of Infinite, and likely PC as well, will be able to scale up or have an option to run at 120 FPS. So we've seen this conversation around 120 frames on multiple games now. We know that they talked about it with Gears 5 multiplayer being added, Dirt 5, potentially Forza, which I expect to see at this event here in a few weeks. We didn't touch on that either. Do you guys think that we're going to see Halo Infinite take advantage of the major features of Series X, including obviously 4K, kind of goes without saying, but going up to 120 frames and implementing things like ray tracing out of the gate?
Jeez, man. I mean, if there's going to be one game that does it, it's going to be that one, right? I mean, they've had the inside track the whole time, so it's
and the new engine, space engine.
It's gosh. I mean, I don't see it. I think that's a little bit much, but then again, who the hell knows? They've been kind of quiet on that front, it's kind of bounced back and forth. You saw a lot on Twitter this week with 30 FPS, 60 FPS, I don't even give a shit.
It's been like the prevailing conversation about things lately.
Right. So if they can hit 4K ray tracing and 100, I mean, that's insane. I mean, most PCs can't even do that right now, can they? I mean,
no.
It'd be.
No, they can't.
No. I mean, good on them. If they can pull it off, fantastic. But I think that's a little bit much, actually.
But see, then the thing is, the Series X is more powerful than probably 95% of the PCs out there.
No doubt.
Sure.
Yeah,
no doubt. It's more powerful than this one, and I just built this in February.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so let's not forget that. And then Microsoft invested $500 million into the development of Halo Infinite and the Slipspace engine. They said it's one of the most advanced game engines on the market. And I think for them not to show 120 frames per second in that game as an option, as a performance mode, would be actually a bad idea, because it is their flagship title, and to show off we can do in our flagship AAA game 120 frames per second is just the right message to send. It won't be the standard mode. The standard mode will be 4K 60 with ray tracing on, and to have
you mean the 120 will be for multiplayer, right?
Either for multiplayer or as an option. I still do not get till today, since all consoles are now running on the x86 architecture, it is for me still very surprising that developers do not give us options in the games, how we want to play them. This is something I really hope that will change next generation. Give us options. Do 30 frames per second with 8K or I don't know, and 4K 60 with ray tracing and 120 frames with 1440p or something like that. Just give us the option. It is they have that options in their games anyway, because all those games come out on PC and you can do it on PC. Why not give us the option on our console? I just don't get that. And I'm really hoping that this will change.
Completely agree. Yeah. Completely agree. Logan, you got any thoughts on Infinite here?
Oh, I'm stoked for it. I know that's an understatement, but I'm really glad that this hasn't been brought up much, but I'm really glad that they're bringing back split screen for Halo Infinite.
Oh, yes.
Because I'm an old school couch co-op guy. I like to have friends over and just
love it,
play it together on the TV instead of on live all the time. So I'm really glad. That was a big qualm I had with Halo 5. Like, I mean, there was obviously story beats and stuff like that, but that was my main issue with it. So I'm really glad they're bringing that back. And the 120 FPS sounds kind of nuts to me. I mean, maybe they can do that if, like Dan said, if there's one title that can, it'd probably be Halo, because they're going to go all in on that. But I'm a resolution guy myself, so I pick the 4K modes over the FPS on games myself. But I'm really excited, and I'm curious what y'all think about that lock leak thing that's been floating around.
Yeah. So I threw that out. I will say, and the reason I wrote it here in the notes is, so if you're not familiar with what Logan's referring to, the Halo toys from like Mega Bloks and some of the toys that are coming later this year have already leaked a few features in the past. And one that was leaked this week was a Banish, so one of the brutes. And on his shoulder, he had Locke's helmet. And so immediately the speculation began that Locke is going to be killed by the Banished or Brute or whatever in Halo Infinite. The reason I wrote this on here, though, is that Brian Gerard, who is the community director for 343, came out and said after the initial leaks a few months ago with some toys, everything from now and forward is planned, and don't take all of the things you see in the toys as being canon in Infinite. So he kind of quietly countered that that's not a plot point. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't have a huge problem with Locke. The only problem I had with Locke is when they try to make me, similar to Last of Us, try to make me care about Locke like I do Chief, because it's never going to happen. So don't force him on me, but I don't know if they'll actually kill him off. He's a pretty big character in the Halo universe.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I have a very provoking opinion on that.
Go for it.
See, I think Halo has one problem right now, and that is that their story got too complex. When the first Halo came out about 20 years ago,
2001
18 years ago, 19 years ago. So the many of the gamers that will play Halo Infinite weren't even born when the first Halo came out. And to understand the story in Halo 4 and 5, you have to read the books. Otherwise, you have no chance to understand that. And let's be honest, who does that? Yeah, this is such a small percentage of the gamers who read the books and everything. So I think it would make sense for them to kill off some of the characters and just start over. Just start with the story over. Give new gamers the chance to understand the story.
Wow. I don't. So it's tough for me, and I know Dan's not in the same boat. Logan, I don't know where you sit, but I'm a Halo guy. I mean, we all know this. You can see it behind me. And Chief is my favorite video game character and have a long history with Halo, and it means a tremendous amount to me. So I realize that Chief has been around for nearly 20 years, and you have a very good point that the story did get very convoluted in 5. I think that's a problem that many of us had with it, because Halo 4 was written so well, in my opinion. But yeah, it's gotten a little out of hand. I don't know where they take it. I can tell you. So Marion asked in the chat too. Sorry for living under a rock, but is Infinite supposed to be a reboot? No, Infinite is a direct continuation of the series and actually takes place right after Halo Wars 2, which is where Atriox, the new big brute you're seeing in all the advertising, and the Banished come into play. Meanwhile, I think to your point, Archimedes, Shizno says in the chat, I hope they retire Chief for Halo to grow and evolve.
Yeah,
Well,
I
I
don't think
know
that
that Chief has to be in there. You can't get rid of the Chief. I mean, that was the problem with Halo 5, right? People didn't want to play as Locke. I don't think anyone had something against the character of Locke, but they didn't want to play as him.
100%.
So,
They tried to make him the main character, and it landed flat.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. No,
So I think.
I'm just, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just think the whole story with the didact and everyone involved, they're just it is so confusing right now, and you have to give really people the chance to come in new. You can have references to the older parts and everything, but give us the chance to really understand the story and have a sort of soft reboot. Yeah.
I think it's fair. I was going to say that I think 343 is one of the biggest Xbox game studios, massive studio, and the Halo universe, most people don't realize, is massive as well. I mean, there is so much, to your point, Archimedes, about the books. There's so much that's been written. It's kind of like, and it's not a one-to-one, obviously, but it's like the Star Wars universe, right? You have the movies, but there's an awful lot in the Star Wars universe beyond the mainline movies. And Halo's very similar. There's a ton out there that's been written about. And I think that it would be smart for 343 to continue the mainline Halo games, keep Chief as a focal point of character, but there's no reason you can't explore other parts of the universe with other games. That's really what I would like to see, personally.
I agree. I'd like a spin-off. Like, I'd love a horror game focused on the Flood. I think that'd
be awesome.
Something like that. As you guys said, Halo's like one of my biggest franchises. I love it. It's my favorite FPS by far, and so I can't wait to see what.
Good man.
Good man.
Yeah. Dan's just shaking his head.
I think we all have so much nostalgia for Halo. When I played Halo 1, at that time, shooters on consoles were basically non-existing. Today, you have so many other great shooters on consoles, and that makes it so difficult for Halo to stand out under all the other shooters. Yeah. And you have to somehow lure all these new gamers in that grew up with Call of Duty and the other shooters out there, yeah. And that's why I still hope for a soft reboot, yeah.
Interesting. Dan, give us your deep thoughts on the Halo universe.
I played Halo 2 or Halo Wars 2 this week.
Yeah, I saw you said you were playing it, but that's kind of more up your alley, right? Do you like the RTS?
Yeah, I mean, I'm more of the RTS guy. I mean, I don't really like FPS games as much as, say, like a third person over the shoulder. It's just more of a comfort thing for me. I've played the Halos. They're fun to play. You guys are 100% right with the story stuff. But the big draw to Halo has always been the multiplayer, right? So that's what they really, really need to knock it out of the park with, because that's what's going to bring in most people. Now this game is going to be on Game Pass, and everybody's going to be able to jump right into it.
And PC.
So they got that going for, yeah, and PC.
Halo 5, remember, wasn't on PC.
Right. It's going to be a huge. This is their game. They need to knock it out of the park. As far as, I don't care about the FPSs, the 120 FPS. I don't even think my TV will do it.
Yes.
So, the FPSs. It's just. I just want them to come out and kill it with this stuff, man. Because and this is going to be that game that's going to everybody's waiting for, right? From the Xbox side, they want this game. This is the game that has defined the console. Really, it's their guy. It's their Mario. This is him. This is, and I respect it. I just have never been a huge fan of just the series as a whole, mostly because I don't get into multiplayer too much. So I kind of focus on the stories. but it's huge. It's a huge game, and this is going to be it, man. I want to see. I'm really curious as to what the numbers are going to look like, a month out after it gets released. I think it's going to be huge.
What did I tell you? I think I told you and Bert the other day, my guess. I said, what did I say? Like 5 million the first week? Something,
As
3 days?
Copies sold?
Players. How many players?
Yeah. No, that might
First
be
day, 5 million in 24 hours, I think that's what I said. Yeah.
Well, you know what needs to happen? Fix your servers and have them ready to go. Because I don't need to see 15 tweets a day from Xbox support on my timeline. So get that fixed. Make sure you're ready. And boom, we're good to go.
Yeah. Xbox has been struggling lately.
That's why they need that beta.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Now, to be fair, Master Chief Collection was a nightmare when it launched, but Halo 5 launched very smoothly.
Yeah,
definitely, and it had a fantastic multiplayer. Yeah, as much as the story sucked, the multiplayer was awesome.
Yes, people still playing it. It's 5 years old, and people still play it regularly.
Yeah.
I mean, it stands up test of time. So, all right, guys, we've been talking Xbox for quite a while. I think we're all looking forward to the event. Can't wait. Only a few weeks to go. So, real quick before we jump over to Ubisoft, quick shout out to everyone in chat. Really appreciate the conversation, guys. If you don't mind, just quick shout out. Please like and share. It obviously helps with getting some exposure for the show. So, thank you. Let's talk about Ubisoft, because prior to the Xbox show, we have Ubisoft's E3 replacement called Ubisoft Forward, which is actually happening on the 12th, which is next Sunday. So naturally, Dan, this one is happening a day after we record next week. But Ubisoft released a little teaser this week, a little teaser video. And in that, you could obviously see Assassin's Creed Valhalla. That's expected, right? We're going to get the first gameplay, apparently. It showed Watch Dogs Legion, which I think a lot of people are sleeping on. That's a game that made a lot of buzz last year, but it's one of those games that Ubisoft took back to kind of make sure to polish it better. We'll touch on that in a second. And then this week as well, Far Cry 6 has kind of leaked. So Giancarlo Esposito, I don't know if I pronounced that properly, is a pretty well-known actor. He's in Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, The Mandalorian, etc. And he is apparently playing a key role in Far Cry 6. So it's expected that we'll see Far Cry 6 debut next Sunday as well. And then remember, of course, that Ubisoft has a whole bunch of other little titles in the works. They showed Gods and Monsters last year, which they took back to continue development on. We saw Skull and Bones. I played Skull and Bones 2 years ago at E3 2018. Another title that they've kind of taken back and continued development on. So I'm actually really excited for this show. Valhalla is one of my most anticipated games of 2020, up there with Cyberpunk and Halo. And, I'm curious to really see how Watch Dogs Legion has evolved as well, because I got the backdoor demo of that at E3 last year and was pretty impressed, save for a few things as well. So what are you guys looking forward to here? I know we've talked on Valhalla quite a bit, but what do you guys really want to see from Ubisoft here, and anything you're really excited about? I don't care.
Anything but a Splinter Cell skin in a game. Anything but that, I'm good.
Yeah, Sam Fisher is going to be in this game now. Yeah.
I mean, y'all have phones, right? I mean, it's what they do. They milk him to death, but they won't actually make us a Splinter Cell. That's why I'm so excited for the initiative thing. But back to Ubisoft, I'm really excited for Gods and Monsters. That one looks really, really cool. Kind of a Breath of the Wild, but Ubisoft take on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you excited about Valhalla?
Oh yeah, for sure. I love Assassin's Creed. I'm kind of a traditionalist about Assassin's Creed. I liked it when it was, Assassin's Creed, like with Ezio and all that. But I've enjoyed the new ones.
Okay. Wait a minute. What's the best Assassin's Creed game?
That's a test. Careful.
Test. There's a couple of answers that I would say.
Man, this is tough.
There's a lot
I
of them.
really, really loved Black Flag. And then the first one, because I love Jerusalem and the Crusades period time historically and everything. So I would go a tie between the first one and Black Flag.
Nice. That's good choices.
What's yours, Dan? Because I know Brotherhood. Okay, I know Dan said before that you're more of the stealth kind of classic Assassin's Creed 2, and I'm the opposite. I never really got into Assassin's Creed until it got into being like the more open world, more RPG. I liked Origins. I really loved Odyssey.
Odyssey was amazing.
Yeah. So Valhalla, between the RPG elements, customization, the quest writing they've talked about, and it being in England with Vikings. I mean, I'm English, I'm over the moon about Valhalla.
Oh, definitely. The Nordic mythology is awesome. And having that in Assassin's Creed, it's going to be insane. You had quite a good list. Watch Dogs is definitely something I'm looking forward to. I always thought it's a highly underrated series. I enjoyed the first 2 games. I really did. The first one even more than the second one. I'm an exception here probably, but
no. So did you just say you like the first one better?
Yeah,
me too.
Yeah,
I don't get all the complaints about Aiden and the first one. I really liked it.
I enjoyed the first one. It was GTA with a smartphone. It was a lot of fun.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. In the second one, the characters were a little bit too cool for me.
I don't know if cool is the right word, but I know what you mean.
So, one thing I want to add to your list, Beyond Good and Evil 2.
True, yes.
I've shown that 2 years ago, and ever since the game disappeared from the face of the earth. So I hope we get to see that game.
That's a good point. Yeah, Michael Ansel is another one of those developers where it's like very creative, makes excellent games, but he's just one of those creative minds that kind of is on his own plane. He kind of does things as he wants to do them.
Definitely. Yeah, well, and then Far Cry 6. I loved Far Cry 3 and 4. And I really did not like Far Cry 5. So I'm excited to see where this one goes, because the potential is definitely there in the series. Far Cry 3 was amazing.
Yeah, I don't think you're alone there. I think a lot of people have called the Far Cry 5. It's not that it was a bad game. It's that they're just it's getting stale, right? They need to evolve the Far Cry series.
Definitely.
Yeah. That series always is kind of hinged on the evil guy, the bad guy, basically. You had what was it, Boss? I think it was in 3, and then can't remember what the other guy's name was in 4. Then you had Father, or whatever his face was, in 5.
Yep.
And they've always done a good job with that. And with Giancarlo, is it Carlo? Yeah, Giancarlo Esposito.
Yep.
I love him. He's Gus, man. Breaking Bad.
Yeah, man.
I was gonna say, I know you love that show, so yeah.
So and he's in The Mandalorian. If he is the bad guy, then this has got a chance. They need to obviously do some work, like you said. Far Cry 5 is a little bit stale, but the core gameplay I've always loved anyway. Go find the tower, open up this area, do some other stuff, and then kind of move the story along a little bit here and there. You kind of play it at your own pace. But I think they can do a lot more with it. And so I'm interested to see what they got. As far as the other ones go, I mean, I don't know if we'll ever see Skull and Bones ever. I heard about that one time, and that was it.
So, yeah, I told you we played it. So Skull and Bones, what it was, it's like they think Ubisofty, right? Big map, tons of icons, all that. They basically took what worked in Black Flag and tried to make it its own pirate game. That's the direction. And if you remember when Ubisoft came out several months ago and basically said, our games are getting a little too Ubisofty, they were starting to feel alike. They actually came out and commented on that, right? And that's why they took some of the games back to say they needed additional development, is to polish them up more and to give them more uniqueness. And I think that's what happened to Skull and Bones. It was after the fallout of Breakpoint, remember? Because Breakpoint launched, it was a buggy mess. It reviewed poorly for the most part for a big game. And Ubisoft came out and basically said, all right, we're going to fix this.
Yeah. Yep. No, you're right. We'll see what happens if we ever see it.
Has a pirate game with like the sailing aspects of Black Flag and, the shanties and the crew. I mean, there's a lot of potential there. They just got to make sure, it works, obviously. Mm-hmm. Pang, Hassan, good to see you guys, man. Thanks for stopping by. For me, I'm to your point, Archimedes, I'm a big Watch Dogs guy. I really am excited about Legion. Again, it being in London, I think is fantastic. I'm super excited about it. I liked everything I saw from the game last year when we got the demo at E3, but it was rough around the edges, and it was funny because Bert and I commented on this while we were watching it, but the cinematics and stuff felt like Mass Effect Andromeda. The the facial animations, the expressions, the way they interacted, it felt really, really fake. And my guess from the start, when they kind of delayed this game, was they're going to polish that stuff up, because it did make such a big budget game look rough at times.
Yeah, that's true. What I was always wondering is, I mean, the first two Watch Dogs were very story based, and now they have that permadeath system in there, and I am not sure how a good story can work with a permadeath gameplay loop. So, but I'm definitely excited to see where they take it.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point. I guess it depends on if they may have something where the story is really all around the protagonist, yet all your kind of party AI, the thing they really drove of how you can convert anyone in the game. They're kind of less meaningful, I guess. But yeah, it'd be interesting. So, anything else on Ubisoft, guys, before we move on?
Good to go, man.
All right. Fallout TV series. Wanted to touch on this. So, Fallout is what I would call one of the most historic franchises in the gaming industry that has had a rougher, more recent history with some of the launches. Obviously, kind of Fallout 76 goes without saying. But a Fallout TV series was announced this week with some big name talent attached to it. So it's coming from Amazon Studios, going to be a TV series on Prime. And their production company they're working with is Kilter Films. And if you haven't heard of Kilter Films before, it's actually Christopher Nolan's brother, Jonathan Nolan, and Lisa Joy that run that studio, or big parts of that studio or that production company. So I think if you think about Fallout, if you think about the concept of the game, the premise, the setting, the style of humor, and the kind of post-apocalyptic 1950s background, I think there's a lot of potential here to create a very, very cool TV show.
Maybe.
Thanks, Dan.
You're rolling the dice, man. I mean, it's Fallout is such a beloved, series, game series that But then they came out with 76, kind of drove people away. But it's actually got it kind of came back and has a small following, I guess, or maybe it has a huge following. I don't know. But here's the thing. I mean, it depends on where they go with it, right? They've got the names behind it. I'd love to see something like it, but we'll see. Temper your expectations on this one.
Oh boy,
this is the only one. Anything with Fallout in front of it, for sure. Just don't expect greatness. That's what it should be.
Way too tempered.
What a tagline! Don't expect great.
Okay, then I have a question here, really quickly. Your Assassin's Creed question to the Fallout franchise. Which is the best one?
3. I would go with 3. You know what? No, New Vegas. I think.
Yes. Right answer.
I almost forgot about it. Yeah, New Vegas was definitely the best one for me.
I was going to say 3 and New Vegas are usually the pinnacle.
Yeah. Fallout. Expect mediocrity. But do it in some really cool graphics, so it looks like it's really good, but it's not.
That's going to be our Bitcast tagline from now. Don't expect greatness, expect mediocrity.
We should do it, man. Oh, man.
Well, he's not wrong. I mean,
about Bitcast?
Yeah.
No. I mean, sorry. No. I mean, on the Fallout TV series. I mean, how many really good video game series movies did we have? Well, if it wasn't for The Witcher, I wouldn't say which one was really good.
That's it. They should have made a post-apocalyptic TV series and then just put Fallout in front of it when they were done. Don't go into it with any kind of expectations, or because then people are like, oh, it sounds like a really cool thing. What's a Fallout game?
Exactly, yeah.
Logan, where you at on this, man? You a Fallout guy?
Yeah, I like Fallout. It's I'm more of a Skyrim guy myself personally, or Elder Scrolls from Bethesda. But
okay,
I enjoy a nice token bit of Fallout every now and then. And then I think with having the Westworld developers on it is going to help because obviously they know cyborgs and all kinds of apocalyptic just chaos. So I can see them maybe doing a good job, but like Dan was saying, with Fallout, my expectations are not high.
Yeah. I think that's the problem, right? Is you have to. Can they separate the recent, Fallout stuff from the games, which has not gone over too well from the TV series? And also, where do they go with it? How do you create? Because if you think about Fallout, there's stories there, but I wouldn't say there's this huge, strong cast and protagonist that you think of with Fallout.
I agree.
You kind of create your own stories in those games. Same with Skyrim. It's one of the reasons that I hold, and I don't want to start a debate, one of the reasons I hold Witcher 3 above Skyrim is because the characters is one of the reasons. But you just associate with Geralt, and I think Witcher from a TV series, plays on the strength of Geralt. So I don't know how you create that in Fallout. But
yeah, and they had the books. Yeah, don't forget that the Witcher series was actually based on the books, not the game.
Yes, very, very well done books.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a basis there to work from. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
So we shall see. All right. And don't forget. Go ahead.
Deathclaw. See how they do the
Yeah, see how they do a Deathclaw. Well, the teaser they had Mothman.
Or
On Twitter, that's what the two eyes with the all black. That was the Mothman. So and don't forget, we're also getting a Last of Us show. That's coming too.
All right. I totally forgot. Yeah. When is that coming?
I think they're not even. They're in like pre-production right now.
Okay.
So I think that's going to be a while. But I mean, you have to be a fool to think that with the success of Witcher, that wasn't the first season anyway, was not a huge budget show. And yet when it launched, it's one of the best, one of the highest watched shows on Netflix. And so you can be sure that these big name IPs for gaming are going to start being picked up. Last of Us, obviously Fallout now. You have Halo coming next year.
And the Cyberpunk series.
Cyberpunk anime series is coming, right? You're going to see more of this. I absolutely guarantee it. So
I know Castlevania has been doing quite well on Netflix as well.
Another one.
Anime series.
Yep. And I started it. I haven't watched much of that, but I know from the people I've talked to, they said it's excellent.
Yeah, well, you have to be an anime guy.
That's my problem. I'm not. Yeah.
Me neither. Yeah.
Oh well. All right, cool. Let's talk about Tencent. So, if you are Mads, what's up, man? Good to see you. God, we got all kinds of people from outside the U.S. today. It's awesome. Love that. Mads, I believe, is in Poland, if I remember correctly.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. So Tencent is, if you're not familiar with Tencent, I'm sure the people who are listening to this are familiar with Tencent. So they are all over the gaming industry. They're a Chinese conglomerate. They have their funding and money and kind of ownership of things all over the gaming industry. And they are now coming to the U.S. in full. So they are opening a AAA studio in Los Angeles titled Lightspeed Studio. The studio head is a former Rockstar lead named Steve Martin, who did a lot of the lead production stuff on Grand Theft Auto 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2. And they have talent already acquired from major developers like 2K, Sony First Party, Rockstar, and other companies as well. So their focus, they've already said, is going to be AAA open world games for Xbox Series X or next generation, Series X PC and PlayStation 5. And I think this is, from a player's perspective, this is good. More big AAA studios, big games, competition, etc. But if you are familiar with EA and Activision, which we know we all are, Tencent is coming, and Tencent is a massive conglomerate that's about to make their presence known in the U.S.
Tencent. I mean,
the name doesn't translate to America very well, but that's
yeah. I mean, it's just another. You always say competition is good, I guess. And But this is just these companies, they don't really need to compete with each other because they've got it in the bag already. So meh. So it's like, the rich get richer. It's
well,
fine.
that's the thing, right? Is like we were talking about with EA and Activision and 2K with what do you call it? The $69.99 games, right? Is this just going to further compound that kind of gigantic publisher company bringing things microtransactions and kind of making it more difficult for the smaller development companies here in the U.S. market?
Yeah, that's going to suck. I mean, but, here's the thing, though. 90% of the people that play video games, that they play 1 or 2, 3 games of the year. It's FIFA, it's Madden, it's Call of Duty, Fortnite. It's, that's and which makes it even harder for these smaller studios to kind of get in with an indie game or something like that. So it is what it is. I'm not a huge Tencent guy. They seem kind of shady to me. But then again, there's Activision.
Elu said in chat that 10 cent is your new price.
Yeah. $69.10.
So Logan, I know that we talk offline a lot on Twitter and stuff, and look at these publishing companies, and have you kind of done any research on Tencent or kind of thought about any of this and them coming to the U.S. in a more kind of upfront form?
Okay, go ahead. They have their fingers on everything.
Yeah.
Like all over the globe, they've been investing. Like they have part of a stake in Activision and Blizzard. They have part of a stake in Fat
Epic.
Shark up north. They now are building their own AAA US studio, basically, and they just had their own game show in China, if I'm not mistaken, where they had a big conference with a bunch of developers. Mm-hmm. They are trying to become the new gaming power in the world that would be kind of try to be on par with the Microsoft or Sony. Not saying they're going to make a console or anything, but they view themselves as that big of a thing. And they're coming to the US now, and the studio is just a sign of that. And I would be wary of it, but we'll see. We haven't seen them in the US do much before, so it'll be curious if they have an EA and Take-Two reputation to start with or not. But we'll give them a chance.
Yeah, that's kind of Elu in the chat said these companies are like the Walmarts of the retail world. It makes it difficult for those kind of mom and pop developers to stand a chance, which really where services like Game Pass help. But that's a whole nother conversation we won't get into. Archimedes, what do you think, man?
Yeah, well, we got another player who will bring shady business practices into the video game world.
Exactly.
So, I don't know what they will come up with. In the end, it is like it is. A bit more competition can never hurt, and maybe we get a good game out of it. Let's see it like that.
That's the thing, right? You look at the talent they have; they're obviously going to have the funding. There's no question about that. And this is a AAA studio in Los Angeles. I mean, if you think about the other studios, there's tons of studios in Los Angeles. But I mean, if you think about the very, very well-funded studios, the AAA, and what we joke about the Quad A, right? You've got the Initiative. You've got like Sony Santa Monica. You've got those really big studios that make these big budget, big games. So, I mean, for us, that could be a really good thing. I just worry about, the company practices like we're talking about.
Yeah.
So, Marion's bringing up Stadia. I know everyone's got their Stadia hooked up as we speak, right?
Pour one out.
Pour one out. Oh man. All right, let's so we talked about this a long time ago because it leaked, but then we heard more about it this week for the first time, and that is the Harry Potter game. So Harry Potter RPG being developed by Avalanche Software. Now, be aware, Avalanche Software is different from Avalanche Studios. It's not the company that makes Just Cause and those games. Avalanche Software is actually the company that made Disney Infinity and some of those Disney games. So they have not made a big AAA kind of game in this vein before, but they're working on the Harry Potter RPG. It's supposed to release in late 2021 for Series X, PlayStation 5. And we're expecting to see this at DC Fandom, which we talked about a couple weeks ago. That takes place on August 22nd, which is where it's also rumored we're going to see the Justice League game and the new Batman Gotham Knights game. So I I think I missed the boat on Harry Potter a little bit in that I was older, like my nephews, nieces, etc. really liked Harry Potter and grew up with it. So it doesn't mean a whole lot to me personally. But that being said, the way they've talked about this being open world and kind of having a full Hogwarts in the surrounding areas and being an RPG, I think if they do it right and kind of have the charm of the series and Hogwarts, excuse me, and build out the characters, the world, etc. I think it could be really well done. I just don't know. I think really need to see it to see if they're going to be able to deliver on that vision.
I mean, I'm down, man, 100%. Give me some more Harry. Give me a Harry Potter game.
So, Dan, we're about the same age. Were your kids into Harry Potter?
I was in the Harry Potter.
That's the spirit.
Kids, I like it, man.
I read the books.
God.
The books are excellent.
Okay.
When the movies came out, thought they were really, really well done. And I was like, this is they actually did a good job, because you don't see that very often. Usually you get, some kind of garbage, movie film. I mean, I'm not like, I'm Hufflepuff. I'm not that guy, but it's more of a, I think they have a really great IP to work with here. So, let's see what they can do, man. If it's an RPG, if they can, make it bigger. Now, Avalanche, they've only done Disney Infinity.
And they did Cars, like I said, they've done smaller Disney-based games.
Well, that doesn't bode well. But I don't know why I thought Avalanche was like the Just Cause guys.
It is Avalanche Studios. This is Avalanche Software.
Well, maybe they sent some guys over to make it slightly better. Shove some guys over there and go show them how to make a big game. Let's see what we see in August. So until then, it's exciting news.
Yeah,
and I want to see some more of it. So
yeah. I mean, we haven't had a Harry Potter game outside of the Lego games, I think, or maybe I'm forgetting one.
There's some
Sorcerer's Stone one that wasn't so hot. But
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's been some smaller ones, some lower budget ones. There's really nothing that's been a big AAA. Big Harry Potter game, which is weird, right? Because it's such a huge IP.
Yeah, exactly. If you think about how many Lord of the Rings games we got,
right?
It's always, it's surprising, and I really enjoyed the movies as well. I never read the books, but I'm a huge RPG fan, so if it's well done, I'm definitely up for it.
Yeah. Logan, where you at on this? Did you grow up with Harry Potter?
Oh yeah, I did, definitely. My sister's the one who's all in on Harry Potter. I'm more of a Star Wars, Lord of the Rings guy myself, but
okay.
I do like Harry Potter, so I'm excited for it. And I do wonder if the kind of quote unquote fire sale going on at Warner Brothers Games is going to affect these guys any at all. Like, it's got to be in the back of their mind at least a little bit that, everything must go, so to speak.
Yeah, and we touched on it a few weeks ago when that first kind of conversation came out about Warner Brothers possibly being acquired, right? And the gaming kind of IPs and their properties. So it is going to be interesting because especially if this game is not until late 2021, there's a lot of time that could happen, a lot of things that could happen between now and then. So yeah, that'll be interesting. But I think this leaked, it goes without saying that it's been far too long hearing about Rocksteady's game and the Batman game. And it sounds like if they have all these things, Rocksteady's game, the new Batman game, and Harry Potter at this DC fandom on August, that could actually be quite a damn good show.
Oh, definitely. I mean, there's this rumor out there that they originally planned an entire E3 show this year.
That is, yeah. That was the plan. Yeah, well, that's what we heard the plan was, right? And I don't know about you guys, not to get us off track here, but I saw a lot of comments this week. We've gotten to July now, and I know I agree with the sentiment, but a lot of people were like, for those who said we don't need E3, it can all be done digitally. I think June demonstrated, at least to me, that I prefer E3.
Yeah, get out of here with that nonsense. I mean, I want all my news in a week and get the demos and just, it's just this huge, like, euphoric, just gaming.
It's a celebration, right?
Going on all in 1 week. You get it out of your system, and then, the rest of the year, there's a little bit here and there of news, but you get it right then. Now it's just been a slow trickle, like a little indie game here, and then a few weeks later, a little indie game here, and then bam, PS5 is actually unveiled. We'll see what it looks like. And then weeks later, something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
The only thing I'm looking forward to is the demo thing. That is new. This is a good thing. This demo week from Xbox we talked earlier about, but otherwise it's much better if you have it in 1 week and you have the big shows and the excitement and yeah.
I think that, because there's so much that's often shown that week too, with all the conferences and all the companies, it's talked about for weeks and months afterwards, right? Because there's so much to really go through. It's a shame. I miss it. Dan, do you even care?
No. No, I'm fine with the digital stuff. I mean, I've been doing it for years anyway. I mean, I'm sitting in my house watching it when it comes out. I mean, I just whatever.
Yeah.
Doing my games.
Yeah. I know. It's just maybe it would have been different if they still did it in the same format. Like if we still got all of the conferences in 1 week, maybe it would have been different. But this kind of all spread out, like Logan said. You get like an indie game here and a presentation here and 10 minutes here, and it's felt really disjointed. Doesn't feel like we've had any kind of big celebration.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I mean I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
Just give me some more news. That's all. I mean, I don't need to be around thousands and thousands of people, and that's usually not my scene. So I just want more. If you want to give it to me in over a week's time, fine. If you want to spread it out, that kind of sucks, but is what it is. A lot of some of these, like Sony, to kind of own that news cycle for a little while. Now it'll be Xbox here for the next month or so. Unless Sony comes out and drops something, which they probably will. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, they will, because that's what they do, and they're hilarious.
They're like professional trolls at times.
Yeah.
Mads, man, appreciate the 10. That doesn't say $10, so I don't know. I don't even know what the currency is in Poland.
Yeah.
Who knows? Anybody?
The $10 Poland currency.
But I appreciate 10 Poland bucks. And he says, he wants E3 back too, and we were to be there this year, which is 100% true. I've talked about that. It kind of sucks that we had some huge plans for E3 this year. So Mads was coming over from Poland, Enrique from Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, myself, Cog, all the Lords, King. We were all going to be staying together in one gigantic house, and it was just going to be a week-long party and doing videos with Boom. Boom was going to be with us too. And it's really, it's really a shame that obviously the whole COVID thing has gone on and kind of disrupted it all. But anyway, it would have been nice to finally meet Mads and some other people, but hopefully next year it'll be back. We'll see. Polish zlotys. I'm probably saying that wrong.
Yeah, you are.
Zloty is the currency. Didn't know that. Okay. Well, we're an educational show as well here at Season Gaming.
I would agree.
Guys. Temper your expectations.
Yeah. You definitely use that here.
One last thing I wanted to touch on that was good news this week, I think, is Horizon Zero Dawn. So we've obviously talked about Forbidden West and the whole PlayStation 5 presentation, but Horizon Zero Dawn, we got a date for it coming to PC. It's coming to Steam and the Epic Games Store on August 7th, so just over a month from now. And as you would expect with being on PC, they've kind of touched it up, right? So you've got ultra widescreen support, you've got unlocked frame rates, you've got some things that have been touched up like reflection and shadow quality. Just a lot of accessibility options. It will have controller support as well, but really great to see such one of my favorite new IPs of the generation, go over to the PC platform. And I know at least for a short period of time yesterday when they announced it, it was the best selling game on Steam. So definitely an audience I think it's going to find there, and I'm happy to see new people playing it because it is an incredible game.
It absolutely is. Yeah, it's my favorite IP or game exclusive game on the PlayStation this generation. I really love that game, and it's great to see that coming to PC. I mean, what's wrong with more people getting to play a great game?
Nothing.
If they, I think what that means is that Sony will go down and go under and then explode in a giant ball of fire is what I think. From what I've gathered on Twitter, that is what happens when you don't have exclusive games.
Hashtag Twitter, guys.
Hashtag Twitter guys.
I mean, how's Sonny gonna pay the rent? I don't know.
Yeah. Donkulous.
No,
Yeah, so-
apparently the port is very well done. I've seen some tweets from Digital Foundry. They were really excited and pumped to see that game. So yeah,
I didn't realize they already did a thing on it.
They break the trailer
No,
down?
they didn't do a full breakthrough. There were just some tweets from them because they have an early version of it or something.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Wow.
I gotta admit, I'm tempted. Like I said, this is a pretty powerful PC, and I've got the ultra wide, and it's like I love that game. I platinumed it, and just thinking about checking it out, like unlock frame rates, running at like 120 frames. We're back to could be really cool.
Yeah, there was this screenshot going around. There is an option apparently in the game where you can set it to the console settings, the PS4 Pro settings, and everything was basically set on medium. So there are a lot of options you can increase.
Oh, and you play that on the PS4 Pro on a good TV. It's an incredible looking game already. I mean, it's gorgeous. So oh man, I'm tempted. August 7th. It could be a good time too, because we don't have anything else coming out in August right now, do we? Anything big?
Unless they announce something in July.
Right, yeah. I mean, Cyberpunk's in September, right, Dan?
We have two.
No.
Actually, we have two games I will spend hundreds of hours with. There is Tony Hawk 2 or the remaster coming.
That's true.
And Kingdoms of Amalur.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that remaster's coming out. Yeah, and Tony Hawk is what, September 4th, I think? Going off memory.
Yeah, and then there's the demo, that warehouse demo, early August. Somewhere.
That's true. The demo, yeah. Mariano, thanks for the $4.99 super chat, man. Really appreciate it, Mariano. He asked, what other Sony first-party games would you guys like to see go to PC?
All of them.
I don't think there's... Go ahead.
Yeah, what is wrong with bringing all the exclusives to PC? It's just that the fanboys can't say, "Oh, I have an exclusive for a console," and that's all. It doesn't change your experience for yourself if you play it on console, but if it's a great game, let others play it as well.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Death Stranding's already coming. Horizon's coming. It's been rumored for a long time that Bloodborne's coming. We've kind of seen that back and forth. I think if I were to pick one personally, it'd be Bloodborne, because Bloodborne came out in 2014 on the PS4. It never got a pro upgrade. It's an incredible game, but it's kind of rough to go back and play right now because we've gotten so spoiled with how games have evolved over the past few years. So I would really like to see that. But I think to your guys' point, there's no reason why they shouldn't be. Even if they do it like what they're doing with Horizon, right? Where it's what, going to be 3 years after launch? 2017 Horizon, right?
Yeah. 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years later. I mean, it's you don't even need to wait that long. But even if you do it that way, at least you get a new player base, get to experience that great game.
Absolutely. I think God of War would look incredible on PC.
No doubt. Another incredible game. I think God of War and Horizon are my favorite kind of PlayStation 4 first party games. I don't think that's an uncommon opinion, but I wasn't huge on Spider-Man. I know Dan hates me for that. And I wasn't Death Stranding. I'm not going to bother with.
No.
But
what is wrong with
I love Spider-Man. Actually, if I put together my top 3, God of War isn't in them, and I really enjoyed God of War. But I would say Horizon Zero Dawn, Spider-Man, and Days Gone. I really enjoyed Days Gone.
I did too, man.
There you go. I was going to say, I've seen that more and more lately, that a lot of people really like that game. I liked it, but I'm kind of mediocre on it. I think it was a good game. It just doesn't stand up to like Horizon or God of War for me. But I know a lot of people really enjoyed it.
Can you imagine Last of Us 2 on like a ultra wide,
like a top PC? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? That game was amazing looking on the Pro.
Yeah.
And I mean that it's just, it will never make sense to me. Even through a business standpoint, why you wouldn't bring these games to other. I understand you want to keep people to a certain extent in your ecosystem, to force you to buy other games maybe coming out after that. But in the end, it doesn't really matter. People who play on console play on console.
Yep.
People who play on PC play on PC. And that's really all it is. And
it doesn't impact console sales as nearly as much as people seem to think it does. It just doesn't.
Nope. It's ridiculous to even say that. So,
well, and to your point, you can almost do it strategically, right? So like now, Horizon Zero Dawn's coming to PC next month, and you build an audience, right? The PC only people. Mm-hmm. You'll find some of those who really never played it before. They're PC only. They play it. They love it. Then you get Horizon Zero Dawn 2 or Forbidden West next year on PS5 only at launch, right? So maybe you grab a small percentage of those people who are like, you know what? I really like the Aloy. I want to continue that journey. I don't want to wait for it on PC. It's not a big percentage, but I mean, it could be something Sony's looking at.
Yeah, that's a big investment for one game. You're looking at least $560, $70 now. Say the console's $500, then you got to buy the game now. I mean,
well, and then you got to add on an extra garage spot to put the PS5 in there.
Yep. Yep. You get the. I got to take out doors. I got to replace the doors to my house.
Yeah, Persian in the chat. What's up, Persian? Good to see you. He said, I mean, the PS5 is the size of a PC, so yeah, it's true. It's true.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it doesn't sound like a jet engine when I'm trying to play a 4K game this time.
Yeah.
No kidding. No kidding. Which they've said, it's much more quiet, so we'll see.
That wouldn't take much.
All right, guys, let's talk about what we're currently up to. So, I've been playing a couple new things, but Logan, what are you currently kind of getting into? What's been in your consoles or PC?
I've been playing Bard's Tale, remastered and resnarkled, some Minecraft Dungeons, and Animal Crossing are the three I've been playing recently.
Do you got a lot of time in Animal Crossing? Is that a big one for you?
I have a decent amount of time, yeah, but it's not my main thing. But it's pretty easy to just play an hour or two, pick it up on a game, and you just make sure that you're like, okay, take care of the chores and the random things in the town, and then put it down and play something else. It's a pretty easy just pick up and go wherever you left it off game. And then I missed the original Bard's Tale on the OG Xbox. So I was really happy when they ported it to Xbox One. So I've been playing it through Game Pass, and I love it. It's hilarious.
Is it?
Brian Fargo's wit is just it's like a giant parody of RPG tropes, and it's wonderful. Like it makes your character seem like the worst person alive, but also a good person at the same time, which is hard to explain, but it's really funny. And then Minecraft Dungeons, I've been enjoying that, and the new DLC came out, so I'm excited for that. So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
So it's interesting about Bard's Tale because I haven't played it, but you mentioned Brian Fargo, right? And we're talking about In Exile earlier. But that's kind of the point, right? Is between the talent they have, the writing capabilities they have there, now that you look at them as a big budget studio with the support of Xbox Game Studios, it's going to be really, really interesting to see what they come up with.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Archimedes, what are you up to, man?
Yeah, I just finished The Last of Us 2 hours ago. Or 2
just
hours
before
the
we
show
started. Huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
right before we started, yeah.
Yep.
So I'll be playing Minecraft Dungeons. The DLC came out. And then I'm just going to browse through Game Pass probably and see what's next for me.
Cool. Logan, I know you both mentioned Minecraft Dungeons. Have you played the Jungle DLC yet? Any good?
I have not yet. I'm still doing my Apocalypse run on the main stuff, and I just unlocked the lower temple, which was originally planned, and then they kind of delayed it and just now updated it for the game, and as free DLC. It's a hidden level for the desert temple, and it was really fun, and it adds some good weapons and new mechanics to the game, which I enjoy.
Very cool. So Last of Us 2, Archimedes, so Dan and I both finished it. I did my review, and actually
I read that,
Okay.
Just before the show.
Without obviously talking about key elements, are your thoughts aligned with mine on the review, or do you have different opinions?
No, pretty much. You nailed it. It's the thing for me was the pacing of that game. I really enjoyed the story. It was I know many had issues with what happens in the game and the story, and this is actually not what I am bothered with. I just felt the game just felt too long. Yeah, it took me now, I think, about 25 to 30 hours to play for my playthrough. Yeah, and if that game had ended 10 hours earlier, I would have probably said it's a masterpiece. Now I tend to say it's a very good game, no doubt. There are a lot of very good things about it, but it just was a little bit too long.
Yeah, gotcha. I think Dan and I are probably in the same place. It took me 35 hours because I play games very slowly, and it is very long. So, Kenta Wilson in chat, welcome. Thanks for joining. Said West of Dead is also great on Game Pass right now. I've been meaning. That's another one I have downloaded. Been meaning to play more, and I just haven't gotten to it. But while we're on Last of Us, real quick, we're actually doing a spoiler cast. Me, Dan, Bert, and Elu, who's in the chat, we're going to do a season gaming spoiler cast on Monday night, kind of a special one-off episode. So everyone who's listening, join us in. If you finish Last of Us 2, it'll be a good conversation. Dan, what are you up to, man?
I've been kind of just going backwards, which I guess I got time for. I mean, I've been playing a lot of State of Decay 2.
Okay.
This is going to sound really stupid, but they released some Sea of Thieves crossover stuff. That I say,
in State of Decay 2?
Yeah, there's like a car called the Megalodon, which is amazing, by the way. It's so fast and hilarious. Also, like some gear you can get, like one of the swords with a skull on it, and like a bandana, like a pirate outfit and shit like that. So I've been playing the crap out of that. Actually went back and played some Sea of Thieves to kind of see what it was. Super overwhelming all of a sudden. You go from a game that had nothing at launch to I have no idea what's happening right now, So I went back into that, did just a couple little missions here and there, just kind of sailed and did look for some treasure. Game is still awesome.
Another game that number 1 on Steam this week.
Yeah, insane. And then I actually got back into GTA 5 because Bert mentioned it in our chat, and I was like, yeah, I better go play that. Like, see how it is, see how it's held up. It's not bad. It's definitely last gen. But, and then they brought it over. They kind of, they did some improvements. I don't play the online stuff. I kind of just wanted to play some of the story. The driving in it is garbage. I don't remember it being that bad. Everything. There is nothing that I have not hit yet. People, cars, buildings.
I don't think it's the game.
Yeah, that could be true. But short of that, today I want to play and finish Iron Man VR. I haven't played it yet. I got it yesterday, or I had it, and I had a huge headache yesterday. I didn't want to jump on there and make it even worse. So I'm feeling pretty good today. I'm going to jump on and see how it is. I enjoy the demo, so it's supposed to be pretty short. We'll see. That doesn't mean anything for me because it'll probably take me twice as long as a normal person to beat it. I'm not good.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested to hear your thoughts on that. I don't know how. I didn't try the demo, so I know some people are enjoying it. So VR, PSVR has been kind of quiet lately. So
yeah,
but they did announce that VR is coming to Dreams, which is pretty cool too.
I need to jump back into that game too because there's probably so many games on that game that you can just jump in and play, which is crazy. So I saw somebody did like a Legacy of Kain kind of remake.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That looks awesome.
That's going back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Archimedes, Logan, you guys got PSVR? Do you play around with that at all?
I'm not a big VR guy myself. It would give me a migraine. So I'm happy for folks who enjoy it, but I abstain from VR.
Gotcha.
I play it regularly at a friend's house. I don't have one myself, but I do have an issue with all the cables and everything. It's just
that is
after an hour or so, I'm good. So I never bothered to buy one, to be honest.
Yeah, I gotcha. I bought it. Go ahead, Dan.
No, I was just gonna say, not speaking about VR, I was gonna talk about something else. There was another game. It's called Star 99. It was on the Insiders program. I don't know if you saw it. I don't even know if there was like an NDA attached to it, but it was basically, I'm gonna say it anyway because I don't care. It was basically like Tetris 99.
Okay.
But Galaga.
Oh.
So basically
you compete against other people in a shooter?
Right. Yeah. So like a little.
God, how have I not heard of this?
I think it's over, but man, I played it for like 8 hours straight. It was so much fun. And like you like sometimes like people will show up on the other side, like Tetris 99. You're playing against these two people, but there's still 97 other, 96 other players. But like you can shoot stuff, they go over to their screen. You could like launch a boss at them where they have to fight a boss character all of a sudden. It was really cool. It's not like anything spectacular and huge, but they did a really good job with it. I had so much fun playing that game. I don't play multiplayer games, but I played the hell out of that game.
Man, a competitive shooter. Yeah, you got to text me next time, man.
Yeah. I think it's supposed to come back for another demo, so so good.
Cool. I'll definitely check that. What's it called?
Star 99, I think it was.
Star 99. Okay.
Yeah. All
right, cool. Yeah, so in terms of me, I've actually gotten back into, with Elu and Chad here, we've been playing a lot of Rocket League again. It got me into the actual competitive side of it, where you do the rankings and work your way up. And man, that's a challenging game. We talk all the time around, people know me, I'm a super competitive guy, and I make mistakes all the time in that game, and it just drives me crazy. But been playing the hell out of it, getting better, trying to get that gold ranking. I think we've gotten like right near gold, and then we'll lose a couple games and drop back down and keep fighting to get back to it. So, but that is such a game. They're having their 5-year anniversary event right now. And you think about how that game launched, right? They launched with PSN Plus, if you remember Rocket League. And it was kind of like an unheard of game. And it has turned into, it has turned into such a big community. It's crazy. And then I was given a code this week for, you guys heard of this game, Ottoman Empire?
No.
Is it like a pun? Like it involves otters and they have an empire? Okay, that's awesome. No, I have not heard of this.
You haven't heard of it? Oh, so this is a game, came out on the Switch. It came out on all the platforms. The NDA was the 2nd, and I think it releases this week if it's not out already. But it's literally a shooter game like Splatoon, like a small little shooter game, but you're otters. And you have you're basically otters with jetpacks. And it's just this crazy little game that it actually was shown off a few months ago, and it kind of caught a reputation. And it's made by this small development company. It's their first game. And they apparently were talking about games a few years ago. It's like a group of guys, and they were joking about making a shooter with otters in it. And they literally sat down and did it. And this is that game.
Interesting.
So kind of hilarious. The company reached out. They gave me a review code. I started the other day. It's a little rough around the edges. It does have a campaign, but I need to play a little more of it just to kind of see, if it's any good, and wait till there's some people online that I can play against. But it is hilarious. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Anyway, and then I've just been playing more tanks and Path of Exile, which I talk about every week. So I'll leave those ones alone. But Elu said if only Ains was competitive. Yeah, just a little bit. Competitive. All right, guys. So I think we're going to head on out of here, man. It's been a heck of a show. I really enjoyed having you guys on. As always, Archimedes, great having you here for the first time, Logan. So I'll start with you, Logan. What do you want to shout out before we get out of here for the day? Where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter, where I dwell all the time, I guess. LOGMEY92 is my Twitter, and then pixelowl.net is where I have my articles and reviews. And then Owl About Gaming is available on Podbean and other streaming services, or you can find it on the Pixel Owl site.
Fantastic. And well, thanks again for coming on, man. It's been a pleasure. Won't be the last time. And, we'll be in touch, of course. Archimedes, man, always a pleasure having you on. Great to have you here. Can't wait to see your Last of Us 2 review. I think you said you're getting ready to do, right?
Absolutely right. It's always a pleasure to be on the show. I'll be starting with my video review tomorrow, so I hope to drop that on Monday.
Cool.
Yeah, and definitely check out my YouTube channel. You can find me under Boxenberger, basically everywhere: Twitter, PSN, Xbox Live, and of course YouTube. Where I upload about one video per week. It's not a news channel that I have. I wouldn't call it that. I would say it's an opinionated channel. I cover, but in my videos, always a certain topic of the video game industry. And I upload about one video per week. The last video was on Wednesday about the idea of the Xbox lock card and if it's a good thing for the video game industry and for gamers.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to have a lot more to talk about on Lockhart here in the coming weeks. So It'll be fun.
For sure.
Dan, 6910. Your price increased as the show went up.
It went up a little bit. So, live with it, people. I don't know what else to tell you. So not much, man. I'm back on Twitter. I'm working on a couple articles right now. Again, I've been having kind of a writer's block, but I've actually got one coming up. I put a post up on Twitter about it. It's basically kind of examining what the two big console makers are going into next gen and how they can, each of them can succeed in their own way, but it's progressing. It's about halfway done. I'm gonna do a little bit more research and hopefully have that up probably by the end of next week. And I might review Iron Man VR. I want to kind of knock the cobwebs off, so maybe get that out there. Maybe today if I can finish it, depending on how long it is, and if I don't die from exhaustion. From I'm not a very mobile person, so we're gonna see how this works out. There have been times. I think when I played Blood and Truth, I actually got winded. So there's that. I'm a fat guy. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see with Iron Man too, like just motion sickness, because I know VR can be a little rough at times, and being Iron Man is about as much motion as you can get. So we'll see how it does.
The demo wasn't bad as far as that went, so I didn't get. It wasn't too bad. They do a pretty good job, keeping you kind of focused. So
okay, cool.
We'll see. Might be different. Who knows?
Very cool. Well, for us guys, like I said, we're doing a Last of Us 2 spoiler cast Monday night. I don't think we've nailed down a time yet, but it will be me, Dan, Bert, and Elu. So if you finish Last of Us 2, you want to come chat about it, that'll be a special one-off thing. It should be a lot of fun. So look forward to hanging out with some people there. There'll be a new article coming up this weekend sometime from Steve as well. He wants to talk about $70 game prices like we did earlier today. He said that's wrapping up. And then just yesterday, I spoke with some of the admins over at opencritic.com, and you will find Season Gaming back on there. So funny enough, we were on there as a contributor a few years ago, and we kind of got away from it as we kind of changed our review model. And then OpenCritic did this whole revamp of their whole platform. But I reached back out to them a little while ago, and we are officially back on there and just got some cleanup to do. But you can look forward to our reviews being part of that meta going forward, I guess. So my Last of Us 2 review is up there right now with the other critics, and we'll obviously get more ramped up as we do more games in the future. So thank you as always, guys. I really appreciate everyone stopping by for the show, especially despite being a holiday weekend. I hope everyone has a really safe and happy July 4th here in the US. And as always, man, great community. Love the show. Thank you so much, and we will see you next week.